Hi, and welcome to week 7, Applying the Historical Books. So we've been working through Ruth, and we're going to continue with that again this week. But before I dive into what we're going to accomplish in week 7, I want to congratulate you on getting this far in the course. We have a couple more weeks, and I look forward to seeing how we apply the historical books and then our takeaways on how to interpret narrative. So our goals this week are to prepare to teach a section of the book of Ruth to a contemporary Christian context and to suggest concrete applications for Christians today from a section of the book of Ruth. Now we have a couple of assignments and a discussion post. The first, there's a worksheet and some reading that you'll need to do on how to complete the assignment. It's mapping the message, and I want you to choose a portion of the book of Ruth, or all of it, that you would like to prepare to teach. Use the Mapping the Message worksheet that is attached in your course to complete and submit this assignment. I want you to use Chisholm's methodology in Chapter 5 in a single worksheet, so the following will be included. Now, be sure to look at the last page of Chisholm's Chapter 5, which is page 198 if you've got the printed version, or just the last page if you have the PDF version. But you want to follow his methodology. And before I jump into these, also always be sure to include an introduction and a conclusion for all assignments. So even though this is a worksheet, be sure to add an introduction and a conclusion. All right, so with regard to mapping the message, identify the passage you've selected, provide short answers for the 4 questions he suggests for finding theological principles. That's page 190 under the heading Finding the Principles. List at least 2 homiletical trajectories, which you can also read about under Applying the Principles on page 196, below that heading, Applying the Principles. And then finally, to synthesize these ideas into one single summary statement. And I think that's one of the keys to this assignment. In preaching, we call it the big idea. It's narrowing down your study of a passage to one big idea. What is this about? So you're going to synthesize these ideas into a single summary while having other pieces of exegesis on the worksheet. Now for assignment 7.2, you're going to do an evaluation of McCall. And in around 2 pages, I want you to evaluate the essay that you read by McCall in week 6. What are the strengths and weaknesses of McCall's paper? What benefits can be gained from critical biblical scholarship? And what drawbacks are there? Now, this paper should include an introduction, a conclusion, and it should be in Turabian formatting. It's a compare type of paper, which means you're going to want to outline what McCall is arguing. You're going to want to identify its strengths in 1 paragraph, 2 or 3, identify its weaknesses in 1, 2 or 3 paragraphs. And ideally, if you are looking at strengths, you're still going to want to use some outside research in support. If you're looking at weaknesses, you're going to want to look at some outside research for support, and including biblical illustrations or support as well. Finally, looking back to your assignment 7.1 in your discussion post, I want you to paste your summary statement, that big idea from assignment 7.1, into your discussion. Then I want you to provide 3 concrete application trajectories for yourself and your church community. In other words, here is my big idea, this is my main point, and here are my application points, almost like how you would do it in a sermon. Be specific but brief. Describe the who, what, where, when, and why for each of the 3. For example, if your summary statement highlights God's faithfulness, in one application trajectory, you might suggest keeping a journal to record instances of God's faithfulness in one's life. This would create a log of reminders of moments of despair, like Naomi's in Ruth 1:13 and 20 to 21, and how God then met you in that need. So, a fun discussion post, and also a really useful one on ideas that we might bring to bear in ministry. Use your two peer interactions to compare summary statements. What do you like about their statements? How could they improve? Remember, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And yet, be kind. This is not something where I want you to rip each other apart, but I do want to move the discussion for how can we be the most effective ambassadors of Christ possible. The first post, as always, is due on Friday at midnight Central Standard Time, with ongoing interaction through Monday midnight Central Standard Time. This is the end of we're moving into week 7. Don't forget to complete your course evaluations. They are active on a Blackboard now. Email or call me with any questions. As you can see from the background, I am back in the Raleigh-Durham area. I got in late last night. I'll be here for 4 or 5 days and then heading down to Antigua. So if I'm in the air, I won't be able to get back immediately, but I should be able to get back to folks this week without any challenges. Have a great day. Thank you for all the hard work, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with in your study of Ruth.